Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we're so cool, we get 3-Card Thursday 2 days in a row. My name is Breakaway Ray. I like talking about the breakaway civilizations, and I'm going to do it again today. You've tuned into a live tarot throw. Today is March 12th, 2026. Let's tell you what's on the agenda for today. It is really 3-Card Thursday. I'm going to throw 3 cards with a specific query for all of us, anyone tuning in. And this message is for you whenever you tune in. If you're not tuning in live, catch it on recording. The tarot world still wants you to see this message. Okay. And then next up, I've got a social studies lesson, a little history lesson. We're going to compare history here on planet Earth and on planet Mars from the 20th century. Then I'll be crashing a psychic house party. And I'll tell you more about that when we get there. But I got the Tarot Instamatic Camera, and I can't wait to throw tarot cards. So glad you could join me. Thanks for tuning in. Let's not wait any longer. Let's go to the Tarot Cam. Gee, I said, let's go to the Tarot Cam. I have all these posters I want to show you first. So we're going to do 3-Card Thursday, and then, yeah, we're going to talk about planet Mars and planet Earth. I'm going to crash a psychic house party with my Instamatic camera, the Tarot Instamatic, and then it'll be time for tarot for the audience. Oh, yeah, so that reminds me, the last part of the show is tarot for the audience. It might be in about 45 minutes. Please check my instructions at the top of the chat if you're tuning in live, and then you can request a reading for the second part of the show. All right. Anyway, it's also a YouTube unboxing video. Let's go downstairs and check it out. We're opening up with the old style tarot deck today, and this is by a gentleman named Alexander Ray. Sounds like a cool guy. Let's open it up. There's a fantastic, wonderfully put together book that I haven't even read one time yet. And then here comes the deck. Fancy, huh? All right, cool. I wonder who came up with that idea. All right, so what I would like to ask on 3-Card Thursday, probably if you're tuning in, you might be a little bit psychic. Or if you're tuning in and you think not psychic, well, welcome to a psychic event and a psychic moment for you. I'm going to ask the tarot world to spell out for us, to please show us in 3 cards, the most prominent, salient, and most pronounced energy that we all need to keep an eye out for. I mean, let's face it, we can create our own energies, but in general, there's a lot of creators out there. So let's all surf the wave together. And if we can all figure out what that energy is, it's much more, there's a greater opportunity for us to, take that energy, which is malleable, and manipulate it the way we want. We can dance around it, or we can dance with it, or we could do both. So let's check it out. Let's see what the tarot world has to offer us today. 3-Card Thursday. Hey, tarot world. So glad that you were waiting off stage. Now is your chance to shine. Could you please share with everybody tuning in what is the most prominent, salient, and pronounced energy that we all get to encounter after seeing this recording? Whoa. Well, it's 3-Card Thursday. There's one. And then I'm taking one right off the top and one right off the bottom. Sounds good to me. This is for entertainment purposes only. And if you're tuning in again, you've been entertained. Welcome back, everybody. Let's have some fun. Woohoo. We're starting off with the Queen of Cups. Then the 6 of Cups. And the High Priestess. Wow. It's worth reading about the Queen of Cups and the High Priestess. Let's point out a couple of commonalities between these ladies. They are empathic. They know how to transform energies. And sometimes they do it behind the scenes, and they can do it in a very powerful way. They have powerful friends. They have friends in high places. But they always have to be careful with how they wield their power because they got to remember to float everyone's boat. They don't want anything coming back and boomeranging on them, okay, or bouncing back and hitting them in the head. So as a matter of fact, it looks like we have the answers right here. We'll get to the book in a minute, but Six of Cups talks about happy memories and nostalgia. And if we take a good look at this picture, you know, who's creating the happy memories? All the children are having happy memories, but it's the grown-up in the room that's creating this environment so that everyone else can be happy and reach for the stars and grow and thrive in the world, you know? So if you're going to be the high priestess, if you have special powers, remember, you know, you have to set a good example for everybody else. And so that means as the Queen of Cups, you know, we're talking about an energy in which you're being empathic and you're showing care for other people, and you're learning how, well, not learning, you've already mastered your ability to manipulate your own emotions so that, you know, it doesn't affect people in a negative way. Again, like if there's something on this adult's mind in this picture, if there's something weighing on her heart, we don't see it. You know, she's containing it for the moment for the benefit of others. All right, but I will read about the High Priestess and the Queen of Cups here. Looks like I'm reading about the Queen of Cups because I turn right to the page. That's right. I get help from the Tarot World, even finding the page in the book. Whereas maybe the Tarot World like to help me find my magnifying glass. Hang on a second. I just had it in my hands. Here it is. Got it. The Queen of Cups. Emotional stability, femininity, love, and warmth surround you. There might be a mature female in your life who is supportive and caring towards you, or you might be a sensitive, caring, nurturing soul yourself, an empath or a good mother. You are intuitive, in the flow, a daydreamer, a psychic, and a good listener, right? And now let's read about the High Priestess. Dude, I just turned right to it again. Phew, I'm glad I got a lot of help. Great stagehands from the spirit world here. The High Priestess, you have hidden mysteries, spiritual insight, and divine knowledge. Now is the time to be still, so you can tune into your intuition. You have the opportunity to access the knowledge deep within your soul. You hold the answers to the deep unknowns. Let what is hidden come to the surface. Trust your inner instincts to guide you. Hey, I'm very satisfied on 3-card Thursday with that delightful message. Let's get one more look at these wonderful old style cards. The Queen of Cups, she's got a bird on her shoulder. The hero of the whole story, the adult in the 6 of Cups card, happy memories, caring for others. And then the High Priestess. Let's face it, we all have magical powers. And if you're tuning in, maybe you're trying to learn about them too. I'm just getting started myself. Thank you very much, Tarot World. Well done. Of course. I hear some applause. Thank you very much. I'm thanks to the Tarot World and to you. You're a great audience. All right, so let's reorganize the desk a little bit here. On to my next poster, which is this one. All right. And I'm going to come upstairs for the first part. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. There's more than 200 videos at STARCARD Podcast. I've been turning on the camera since August of last year, 2025. I've only been throwing tarot cards for a year now. It's my anniversary of learning tarot. I learned it a year ago, starting with my friend Rob Khalil from the Typical Skeptic podcast over in Matthew Mornian's tarot class. And anyway, look what happened. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to learn tarot and practice tarot and turn on the camera and practice right in front of everybody. All right, so what I'm getting at is, in the past, I believe I have thrown tarot cards about planet Mars and something called the Black Terror. And I'm not sure I've actually done anything about the Cold War here on planet Earth before, but here's my plan. I'm going to throw cards for planet Mars and something called the Black Terror. Then I'm going to throw cards for planet Earth and the Cold War. Both of these took place almost simultaneously during the second part of the 20th century. And then after I throw the cards, I'll explain to you what I know about each. And then after that, we'll open up the cards and see how our notes compare, see how everything shapes up, because there's obviously some kind of participation from the spirit world. We always seem to gain some knowledge, and when we throw the tarot cards, we never know what's going to happen. We're trying to be as random as possible with the cards, and when we're randomizing them, the universe is really putting the cards in order so that we can all learn a lesson as we participate today, talking about planet Mars and planet Earth. So let's go downstairs, let's throw those cards, and then we'll come back upstairs for the information part. All right. So we're going to use the classic with words card. This is Rider-Waite imagery, the classic with words, because this is like a social studies lesson and we want as much information as possible. And, with the words on here, that's going to give us an advantage. All right. Here we go, Tarot World. Now you get to put on your Professor of History hat. You probably have a cardigan sweater with leather patches on the elbows, rolled up cuffs. Very good. Professor Emeritus, Tarot World. Could you draw a picture for us, please, of the second part of the 20th century here on planet Earth and also on our neighbor's planet, planet Mars? What was going on with the Black Terror and the Cold War? Let's see the Tarot World's take on that. Here we go. This is for, planet Mars. Okay, and planet Earth, I'm going to take this one right off the bottom. Okay. So, hey, you know what? Most of us, during the Cold War, most of us were here on planet Earth. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reveal the planet Earth timeline story. And then once we recognize what's going on here, it'll help us understand better what happened with planet Mars. Now, very quickly, on planet Earth, from the years about 1945 to 1989, immediately after World War II and up until the end of President Reagan's administration, 1989, and we have to give credit to the people in the Soviet Union and their president. I don't want to misspeak and say the wrong guy's name, but he was extremely popular. He was an extremely popular premier in the Soviet Union at the same time as President Reagan. He had a distinctive birthmark on his head because he was slightly balding, and he had a birthmark, a little purple splotch or whatever on his head. So I'm sure everyone who knows what I'm talking about, you're probably putting his name in the chat right now. But he was a pretty good guy. He had policy of glasnost, which meant openness. And there was another word, perestroika. And it's hard for me to remember what that word refers to, but I remember those two Russian words, glasnost and perestroika. They were big terms that helped ease us out of the Cold War. And the Cold War was basically, you had the Soviet Union and the United States, and they had an arms race, and they were constantly building up, nuclear missiles. And of course, we have way too many of those on the planet. Thank goodness, the premier, Gorbachev, Mr. Gorbachev, now I remember his name, Leonid Gorbachev, Mr. Gorbachev and Mr. Reagan smoothed things out, and the Cold War more or less ended. I would like to see, someday I'd like to see what President Reagan would have to say now. We should invite the ghost of President Reagan in, to see how far we've come with our relationship with Moscow and the Kremlin. Anyway, so that's what the Cold War was all about. Then meanwhile, over here, at the same time, it was a little bit different. This was a Cold War, and there may have been little proxy wars around the planet, like in Asia and South America, for example. Okay. Meanwhile, on planet Mars, things were different. And so now you have to hold on to your hats as I try to explain what I hardly understand myself. All right. So I'm going to come upstairs for this part. what happened on planet Mars. I received most of this information from watching videos from John Whitberg. You can find like 3 or 4 of his videos in today's description. Almost every day I have some kind of John Whitberg video in the link. Okay, it's a permanent fixture here at STARCARD Podcast. So here's what happened. I'm sorry I can't catch you up, but there are these people called Antarctic Germans. They left planet Earth at the end of World War II, in the late 1940s. They went to the moon and eventually went to Mars. They struck a deal where basically they annexed the whole planet. And there were already people there, other sentient beings there. But in order for them to, find places for those off-world Germans, they proceeded to violently eradicate the populations, the local populations. It sounds a lot like what we understand happened in North America when Europeans came from the East Coast and, in their spirit of manifest destiny, marched across the continent of North America and gobbled up the lands and even exterminated the peoples of those lands as they made their way to the Pacific Ocean. So, this is a common theme in history, isn't it? But anyway, at the time that this is happening on planet Mars, there's something different going on planet Earth. On planet Earth, there's hostility, there's constant fear from the Soviet Union and the United States. No one knows if someone's got an itchy trigger finger, is going to press the button and end the planet. There's not actually all-out war. There might be little proxy wars, but on the other side, on the other planet, on planet Mars, the Germans have amped up their invasion and their desire to occupy planet Mars. So now I've already thrown the cards. I bet that the tarot world has an accurate reflection and may even have some extra details that help us understand the 2 concurrent events going on those 2 different planets. All right. Okay. First, planet Earth. We have the Magician, the 3 of Wands, the Lover's card, and the 2 of Swords. I'm going to go like this with the Lover's card and the 2 of Swords. So one of the things that is out there about the whole Cold War thing is that it was basically staged. It was something designed to keep the populations in fear of one another and separate. And it was used as a measure of control. The Soviet Union and the United States actually cooperate off planet quite well. Well, anyway, having said all that, here's planet Earth where all the magic happens. And on planet Earth, the 3 of Wands is a card that tells me, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. Opportunities to make magic, perhaps. The Lover's card. I think I'm just going to read right off the Lover's card in a minute. But then we have the 2 of Swords, which talks about crossroads. Notice that the 2 of Swords showed up last. So this is like a timeline going here. The 2 of Swords talks about a crossroads and needing to make a decision. And we're talking about during the Cold War period, the end of the Cold War period here. And the lady in the 2 of Swords is blindfolded, so she doesn't have all the information. But we do see that both sides have, plenty of weapons, right? Both sides have plenty of weapons. So now this looks like we don't see, the general population on Earth does not see that, we see one side with one weapon and one side with the other side weapon. And we know that, but we don't have the information that, they're actually being wielded by the same person. It's the same energy. It's an agreement in lots of ways that the Soviet Union and the United States fashioned this Cold War, okay? Because it kept the ladies seated, okay, and waiting and uninformed. Let's take a look at the Lover's card. I think there's a clue down here. Lover's card, love, harmony, relationships, union. Oh, wow. Partnerships. I think I can stop right there. we talked about the Soviet Union and the United States being quote unquote partners in the Cold War. Now, I know President Reagan wouldn't want to hear that unless he knows something about extraterrestrials I don't know. Okay. But what an interesting contrast. A disguised, a show of a Cold War when really the whole time they're in on it together. So they're creating magic. They're magically creating a situation. Let's read the Three of Wands. There must be a clue on this card. You know what? One of the words here is triplicity. Triplicity. Let me read to you some of these other words. Expression, expansion of life, idea, growth, first stages of completion. Okay. A certain stage in post-World War II civilization. We're talking about mind control around the planet. But the word was triplicity. Triplicity. So I'm working backwards, aren't I? Did the Soviet Union and the United States kind of work together to create this Cold War thing? We've heard of duplicity before, right? Duplicity, saying one thing, meaning another. How about triplicity or triplicity? Look, two of the wands are on one side together. There's a whole nother thing going on that we don't see. There's another magic wand. Okay, so, and it also talks about first stage of completion. It says it on the side of the card. So it's just a stage in civilization design. Okay. Did lots of people die? Yes. Was there great hardship around the world for all those years because of the Cold War? Do we still have to reel from those effects? Absolutely. Okay. But in an off-world way, it's Thursday. It's just another planet. It's just the way they organize how civilizations are set up. So, Breakaway Ray, let's compare notes now with planet Mars. Thanks, Tarot World. I follow you. Wow. There's a dude. Okay, everybody. The first card up is the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is Breakaway Ray's card that says, this is a message straight from the universe. It's a message from the tarot world. It's like being in the 20th century and having a landline and having the operator call you up and say, there's a collect call from the tarot world. Will you accept the charges? The answer is yes. We want to hear what the tarot world has to say about planet Mars and the Black Terror. And yes, there you go. You lead off with the Three of Swords. It was real pain. It was outright war. Okay. I'm not clear why the Queen of Cups is here. But here comes the Hermit. And the Hermit, so let's read it all together. The message about the Black Terror. Well, it's confirmation that it happened. The tarot world is like standing up and saying, yeah, check it out. Here's what you need to know. We already know that there was pain there. There was genocide. Okay. Now the question is, what's up with the Queen of Cups? Oh, we are trying to be good neighbors, aren't we? By learning about our neighbors, trying to shake hands with all other cultures, even if it's on another planet. We're acting like the Queen of Cups. Let's read about the Queen of Cups. Compassion, comfort, calm, nurturing, healing, emotionally stable, intuitive, and caring. So there is a stage of healing right now, as I indicated or intimated anyway. The Black Terror is over. There was a treaty. There was like a lot of people, I think the word is amnesty. Like a lot of people were just like, you know what, we just got to forgive these guys and move on, or we're never going to stop the war. And they had to, you could probably tune into someone named Audrey, Starseed Network, I think her channel's called. She knows a lot about what's going on off planet. But she would be one of the people I would ask about the treaty that was settled, that talks about, what we're just going to move on from. Sounds like something we could all learn from down here on surface planet Earth with some of the garbage going on over here. And you know what? It is important. Now take a look at the Hermit. It is important, okay, to look backward on this situation. Everyone needs to look back on it, okay? We do need to turn inward and reflect on it and figure out why it happened so that it doesn't happen again. And that's the case with all genocides, right? We need to learn about genocides so that, we can watch for those signals and make sure they don't happen again. You know what? Even as an elementary school teacher, I taught upper grades, kids 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Sometimes they were even 13. That was a long time ago. I don't feel like we even mentioned enough about that topic that I was just talking about. But anyway, how about that for a social studies lesson from the tarot world? Where else are you going to get a lesson like that? Thanks for tuning in to STARCARD Podcast. Thank you, Tarot World. All right, you can go take a coffee break. I'm going to be introducing the Psychic House Party. Way to go. Oh, you know what? I was just cutting a shuffle. Look at our cards, the Eight of Swords and the Queen of Wands. Hey, everybody, as much as you can imagine, carpe diem, have a good time. Woo, that's what we're doing here. That's right, we're going to a party. Thank you, Tarot World. That was clever. All right, so I've got some people attending. Whoops. I've got some people attending the Psychic House Party. I got Ingo Swan. I got Edgar Casey. I got Nostradamus. Okay. Also, yeah, I'm going to be talking about 5 psychics. So let's come upstairs for a minute. All right, so I'm going to talk about 5 psychics. Yesterday I spoke about Edgar Casey. I got another Edgar Casey story for you. Then I'm going to talk about Nostradamus, the French psychic from a few hundred years ago. I'm going to talk about 20th century psychic Ingo Swan, the famous remote viewer. And then I'm going to talk about 2 lady psychics that I know about. One is called Baba Vanga, a very famous psychic from Southeastern Europe. And another one's called Valentina. So let's lead off with Valentina very quickly. Valentina, I put a link to a video from the channel St. Olga 69, where Daniel, I forget who his guest is or who he discusses it with, or even if he's just by himself. I think he's actually talking to someone. But in any case, he talks about a psychic named Valentina, and she says such powerful things that I thought I'd throw that in the description for you in case you haven't heard of this lady. I think I'm going to paraphrase, don't quote me on this, but I think, you know, one thing that we know about her is that she might be the most psychic person on the planet. And the video ends where Daniel says, I'm going to go see if I can find this person. I got some questions, right? So anyway, I put that in there. Now I want to back up and talk about Baba Vanga. I think I've got the name right. A Southeastern European blind psychic. There was some kind of terrible accident when she was young and she lost her vision. But the rest of her life, she was using her third eye. So she has many, many predictions. But one of the predictions I came across, and this was some years ago, okay, she was around in the 1980s. Like, she made this prediction in the 1980s, the early 1980s. I would have been in high school. And the prediction that she made was that someday the United States of America would have a president who was a man who was black. And lo and behold, of course, we had Barack Obama. And I just want to say, for her to have said that way back in the early 80s, that sounded kind of wild, because at that time in our society, things weren't so integrated, and people might wonder how integrated they really are right now, right? In any case, things were different back then. But another thing she said about this future president, she said that he would be our last president. That sounded unusual. I'm not sure if I just saw some video and some clever narrator put those words and attributed them to her, but that's an interesting prediction. Okay, so, but I did make 3 name tags there for Ingo Swan, Edgar Casey, and Nostradamus, because back in the day when I used to cruise parties, our friends would find out there's a party going on over at this guy's house or whatever. We would go to the party, but most of the time it would just be guys. There'd be no ladies. So I don't have little posters for Valentina and Baba Vanga, but I do have them for Ingo Swan, Edgar Casey, and Nostradamus. So I want to start off with another Edgar Casey story. This is a story I told, I think, on Typical Skeptic Podcast. There's a Typical Skeptic Podcast appearances playlist at STARCARD Podcast if you're interested in checking it out. So here's a story about Edgar Casey. He was a kid. He was in school, and he bombed a test. And I guess his dad found out about it when he got home. His dad was upset. The deal was Edgar was going to get a second shot at taking the test. And the dad expected him to study. And Edgar's reply was, well, Dad, tell you what, let me take the book and sleep with it under my pillow, and I promise I will pass the test tomorrow. And that is supposedly how the story went. Edgar took the book. He didn't read it. He put it under his pillow, slept on it that night, and the next day he aced the test. All right, way to go, Edgar. That's using your noggin. Okay, next up, how about Nostradamus? Nostradamus was famous for writing quatrains that predicted things that happen in the future. And when you read Dolores Cannon's books about Nostradamus, you see that he's kind of doing some controlled time travel, and he's actually helping himself out from the future. So let's see if I can do this for you. So here's Dolores Cannon, second half of the 20th century, Southern United States. She's got Nostradamus's book that was written 400 years before in 1600s France. And she's got all these quatrains, and she wants to know what they mean. So she uses her little hypnosis trick. She puts a subject into a trance, and then this person communicates with Nostradamus in a trance at that time. Talk about time travel. And anyway, so Dolores Cannon reads the quatrain to Nostradamus, and then Nostradamus, who hasn't written the quatrain yet, he thinks about it, memorizes it, and writes it down later, or he makes suggestions on how it should be adjusted or whatever. So that's a real portal of information transference there, right? Between 1970s United States and 1600s France to create a document like that. How's that for editing? All right. That's an interesting story. Giving yourself a little heads up and sending yourself some clues, right? All right. Next up, the reason why I selected Ingo Swann, and he's also from the 1970s, he was remote viewing the planet Mars and the planet Moon. Or sorry, did I say the planet Moon? He was remote viewing the moon, also called Luna, okay? And he was remote viewing planet Mars. He wrote a couple of books. And so, these are noted psychics. I mean, we know these people from history. You don't even have to hear about these people in school, and you might still know who they are, especially if this is your thing or whatever. They're just noted. You know what? Lots of people can sing, but there's only, one Teddy Pendergrass, right? Lots of people can sing, but there's only one Whitney Houston. By the way, I hope everybody sings. Doesn't it make you feel better when you sing? Okay. Everybody can play basketball. There's only one Bam Adebayo. Okay. There's only one Wilt Chamberlain. Everyone can play basketball. Okay. Everybody's got the psychic thing. And one of the tricks of this society so far was to make sure no one realizes that they have it. And if they hear about it, it's woo-woo and it's fake. And you know what? You're just imagining things. Well, that is true, right? You are imagining things. You're using your imagination. All right. So we've heard about those three gentlemen, Casey, Nostradamus, and Ingo Swann. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out my Tarot Instamatic Camera. Presenting the Instamatic Camera again, I thought that they were passé, old technology from the 1980s. I had an Instamatic camera. I actually went to house parties wearing my, I couldn't find those glasses. I still have them. Wearing my little new wave glasses that didn't really protect me from any kind of ultraviolet light. Anyway, I had a mohawk better than this, had a little purple hair right up here. And I'm going to house parties, and I got the Instamatic camera, taking pictures. And then, of course, the picture comes printed right out of the camera. It's got some chemicals, and you shake it. And then, you probably have 3 colors like you do on your printer, right? Blue and red and yellow. Okay, so then you shake them, and then you see the picture in a couple of minutes. And you got 1 copy, and there's no negatives. Then that's what I'm going to do, everybody. I'm going to throw 3 cards for Nostradamus, 3 cards for Casey, 3 cards for Ingo Swann. And then to emphasize the point that anybody can come to the party, okay, I'm going to throw 3 cards for Breakaway Ray, okay, because I'm coming to the party too. Let's go downstairs. And then it'll be time for Tarot for the audience. How am I doing on time? I'm doing good. Okay, here we go. That's right. When we went to parties in high school and college, the parties I went to, never any ladies there. Anyway, let's go Robin Wood. Cool. We're having a good show today already. Right. And it's Instamatic Tarot. Wait a second. Here we go. Can you see that? Take a picture of these 4 people, these 4 dudes. All right, Tarot World. Here comes the comedy relief. How about you show us some pictures, please, from this psychic party that I crashed? 4 pictures of Nostradamus, Edgar Casey, and Ingo Swann, and Breakaway Ray. I mean, he really is crashing the party. Should he even be here? And you know what? If I'm going to show up, I'm bringing my friends from STARCARD podcast. So here's for Breakaway Ray. Here's for Ingo. Here's for Edgar. He's smoking a cigarette. Ingo Swann is smoking a cigar. Here's Nostradamus. He's kind of sitting in his chair and checking out his obsidian mirror. Here's Breakaway Ray again. Ingo Swann. Breakaway Ray, he's got like an espresso cup in his hand, but the espresso cup has Speyside whiskey in it. Okay. And then as far as outfits go, Breakaway Ray didn't really dress up. Ingo Swann, he actually looks, out of the 4 of them, he looks the best. You know, he's stylish. And Edgar Casey, he just kind of walked in from the field, so he hasn't changed and freshened up for the party at all. I guess it's at his house. And Nostradamus showed up in a robe. I don't know what he thinks he's doing. I guess he came from someplace that was cold. All right, so let's go with the people that we know. Most of us have heard of Nostradamus. Let's take a look at the Instamatic tarot picture of Nostradamus. He was busy showing us the truth, says the Ace of Swords. The King of Pentacles tells me he's the king of all the psychics in lots of ways. And the 7 of Swords tells me the story about how he had to make his predictions, and he had to make sure that he didn't say things that cheesed off the royalty and the government. You know, he had to basically run for his life. There's a story about a prediction he made about the very books that he wrote and how they would be stored in a house in a certain place, in a cabinet, and then it would be discovered a couple of 100 years later. He actually had to not only did he have to be careful about what he said while he was alive, but he wanted to make sure that his predictions survived, because if anyone had found that book, obviously it'd be destroyed. So that does look like a picture of Nostradamus. Well done. Merci, monsieur. Okay, now let's go to Edgar Casey, early part of the 20th century in the United States. The sleeping prophet. He was a cigarette smoker, and the spirit world kept telling him to cut it out. He had a humble life. He also was a psychic in a previous life where he took advantage of people using his gifts. And that's why this time around, he had to balance out some karmic energies as Edgar Casey. Here we go. Edgar Casey. We have the Chariot card. Reminds me of the farm. But we'll go back to this picture in a minute. The 5 of Swords. Wow, that's abuse. And then the Queen of Swords. Well, did I just tell the whole story before I looked at the cards? Okay, so you see that the Chariot has two horses, one dark and one light. Well, in order to stay on the straight path, okay, I want you to think of the comical yet unfortunate image of a cartoon person who's roller skating, but they have one leg shorter than the other. They're just going to go around in circles, okay? So like I said, in a previous life, he used his psychic skills to take advantage of people. Well, in order to get that Chariot straight again, he had to take a different tact this time, look at the white horse, and that's why he was able to help serve so many people, and he still serves people today. There's a whole Casey Institute where they preserve his knowledge, medical knowledge, psychic knowledge, historical knowledge. Okay, great. The 5 of Swords, that may represent the abuse that he caused in a previous life that caused him to become Edgar Casey in this life. Okay, so he had to balance it out. And that's because he had to balance it out with the truth. He had to regain the truth there. And the Queen of Swords is like truth between people as well. Okay, you think you have swords. She has the best sword. Okay, nice. Nice Instamatic tarot photograph there. Here we go. All right, Ingo Swann worked with secret government projects. So secret, he's still, even at the end of his life, he barely had any idea who he was working with. He found secret information about planet Mars, for example, that aspects of our government already knew about, most likely. Expert remote viewer. I have a video about Ingo Swann. You could go check it out in the Tarotpedia playlist. I think it's in the Tarotpedia playlist. So here we go. Ingo Swann. By the way, this guy had a zest for life, all right. You know, he knew how to, not to say live large, but live luxuriously. He really enjoyed life. Here we go. The Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving, getting paid for his work. That is true. Okay, he was making money on it. Okay. The Six of Cups talks about happy memories, so he can go back and forth in time and he can discover the truth, says the Page of Swords. He can carry the truth and bring it to us. He's flying through the astral field to carry this truth. All right, another nice picture. So does Breakaway Ray really belong in the company of these guys? You guys know me. What do these cards look like? Ace of Pentacles. Breakaway Ray has a new opportunity. The Nine of Swords. He does it in the middle of the night. Insomnia as a blessing. And what's he doing? He's charging forward electrically with the truth at the Knight of Swords. Yeah, he could join the party. Cool deal. Thanks, Tarot World. That was a fun party. I'm going to give these cards a toss. Hope you enjoyed that, everyone. It's time for tarot for the audience. Yay. How'd I do? 40 minutes? All right. Let me give these a toss. One moment, please. I'm going to tidy up the table. Thank you. Hey, thanks for the likes, everybody. Cool. Glad you're having a good time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll through the chat and see who's here. I'm going to say hi to people. And then I'm going to take out name tags. And if you're new and you don't have a name tag yet, I'm going to make you one. And then I'm going to scan for particular requests just to make sure I provide the best service possible. And then we'll throw cards for the rest of the show. So let's say hello. Good morning, Puck Elf. Good morning, Arizona Raven. Who else is here? Hi, Namira. Welcome back. Hi, Kimberly Bamford. Hey, Lisa Talcott's here. Heavenly Cups is here. Good morning. Hello, wherever you are. Arwen's here. Hello, Arwen. Hi, Nishan. All right. I think that's everybody. Yo, if I missed you, you could type it in the chat right now, and I'm going to get the name tags out, okay? I'm going to start with the schoolhouses. Hey, Heavenly Cups. I just want to say I heard about Sargon of Akkad. I look forward to looking at your message in the chat more carefully later. That's kind of fascinating that you mentioned Sargon. Okay, so Arizona Raven, you're right here. Here we go, Heavenly Cups. Kimberly Bamford. Lisa Talcott. Namira. Puck Elf. Hey, then I got another pile of shamrocks. I've got a few names over there. And you know what? I pressed the wrong button again. Here we go. I'm going to draw the line because I feel like I already have a pile of readings going. If I can't get to you today, I invite you to tune in another day, or maybe you want to send me an email if I can help out, if it's an emergency. I mean, I'm just some guy on the internet. I'm tidying up my stuff here, trying to stay organized, everybody. One moment, please. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for tuning in. This is really great. You keep me motivated to turn on the camera. All right, so going through some shamrocks now, because Heavenly Cups is in here, I think. No, I did Heavenly Cups. Arwen is in here. Right, and Deshawn. And Deshawn. There's Arwen. Okay, if I miss someone, I did it by accident. So, you know, if I've said your name and for some reason I didn't get your name tag out, please send me a reminder, okay? So let me show you who I have so far, and then I'm going to scroll the chat one more time to see if there's particular requests. So I've got Arwen, Deshawn, Puck Elf, Namira, Lisa, Kimberly, Arizona, and Heavenly Cups. I'm going to start off with Puck Elf. But let's go check and see. Okay, looks like he wants one card. I'm looking for other capital letters here. Yeah, I got plenty of time, Kimberly Bamford, for right now. So, all right. Here we go, Puck Elf. I'm going to throw you one card. Let's go downstairs. And we might as well throw the Doors card for Puck Elf. All right, Tarot World, I invite you to send Puck Elf the right card, please. We're going to use the Doors deck with all its fascinating imagery, very surreal stuff. How about a card specifically for Puck Elf, please? We have... Wait, I need my glass. I can't see it. The King of Pentacles. All right. The King of Pentacles, he's got a hidden wall safe. He's got a lot of jewelry in there. And it looks like he takes good care of himself, too. I mean, not just well-groomed, but he looks like he's fit and in shape. He might even be an older gentleman. Is his beard gray? Yeah. This guy's got gray hair. All right. A long life of acquiring jewelry and land and territory. And most people don't even see that it's hidden in a wall. All right. So keep it hidden. Way to go. King of Pentacles, Puck Elf. All right. Oh, now I see your message there, Heavenly Cups. I would be interested in seeing that. Yeah, you're right. Very good. We're talking about Sargon of Akkad. So I'm going to go right to Nishan. She just stuck a request right there. So let's find her shamrocks. Okay. I accidentally made 2 shamrocks for Nishan, so she gets 2 name tags. You want messages from your spirit guide, so let's go with the old style deck. Okay. All right, Tarot World. I'm sure you're in connection with Nishan's spirit team. We invite you to transmit any messages, please, through these beautiful tarot cards. Let's have a fun message. One that is helpful for Nishan. A message from Nishan's spirit team, please. A message from Nishan's spirit team. All right, Nishan, let's give it a try. The Seven of Pentacles, whatever you're cultivating, you're doing a good job. Look at those pentacles bloom. Also, you're getting in good shape with all that hard work out there on the farm. The Nine of Swords. I guess, you know, maybe there's growing pains. We're talking about growth here. We're talking about growth here and cultivating things, but are there growing pains? Yeah. Sometimes your clothes don't fit anymore. You're getting taller. Your body aches as your skeleton is growing. The Devil card says it's time to let something go, and maybe that's the best thing to do. Like, don't go to your medicine cabinet. Maybe remove something from your diet, metaphorically speaking, okay? Because it's not going to serve you anymore. Again, we're almost talking about like growing pains and keeping the garden free of weeds, even though weeds can be delicious if you put them in the salad. I mean, come on, you can call it dandelion, but you call it arugula, and all of a sudden it's a gourmet vegetable. Okay, so then let's keep going, Nishan. The message from your spirit team says, remember the magician. You have all the abilities to make magic happen. It's all about timing. And that does include, okay, the time you spend on what you think. So be mindful of what you're thinking about, because when the time comes, you might just manifest that energy. And finally, the Ten of Cups says, when you do all that, it's a dream come true. So keep up the good work, Nishan. Spirit team is rooting you on. Way to go, Tarot World. Oh, wow. Thank you, Tarot World. Thanks for inviting me to read again, Nishan. Next up, let's go to Heavenly Cups. Here we go, Heavenly Cups. I'm going to pull out the Robin Wood deck here. These cards are for Heavenly Cups. Thanks a lot for tuning in, Heavenly Cups. Good to see you again. These cards are for Heavenly Cups. Here we go. Wow. The Tarot World seems anxious to pass out Kings of Pentacles today, everybody. So let me get the book out and read about the King of Pentacles. I think I'm going to read from a different book this time. All right, this is for Heavenly Cups, but a lot of people got Kings of Pentacles today. The King of Pentacles, a rich man materially and spiritually, steady, reliable, earthy, helpful, sensual. All right. That might describe Sargon also. Okay, so the Three of Pentacles, we're starting something new. We're building something. We're working on something with a team. The Fool, we're starting something new. It's a new adventure, whatever it is we're building. There's a lot of optimism involved, a lot of fresh air, lots of places to explore. Okay, next card, Judgment card. You're swapping out the old for the new. Wow, there's a lot of fresh air and new stuff going on here, Heavenly Cups. How wonderful. Temperance, look at how great you look. You're so balanced. Or maybe you're in a midway point, like going from one medium to another medium, from the water to the land, okay? On your new adventure, you're just putting your first foot forward on this new adventure, which is going to be a nice long adventure. There's the Nine of Wands. Look at how you might look at the end, right? All grizzled, but wise. And you'll have a bunch of tools behind you. You're going to feel like the King of Pentacles in lots of ways. All right, Heavenly Cups, good luck. Thanks for inviting me to read. Thank you, Tarot World. That was awesome. Oops. Let's see who's next. All right, Kimberly Bamford. Let's throw some cards for Kimberly. Thanks for inviting me to read again, Kimberly. I'm going to throw the Doors cards for you. All right, Heavenly Cups. Thanks for that message. I appreciate the feedback. And these cards, Kimberly Bamford. I mean this in a comical way. Yo, Tarot World, Kimberly Bamford's like a groupie for you. She really likes your messages, Tarot World. All right, so I know you got a chance to share the Doors cards for Kimberly. Let's share a message for one of our favorite fans, Tarot World's favorite fan. Here we go. All right. Hey, everybody. I don't know these cards so well. I'm just learning them. I just got this deck, so it might take me a while as I study these with you, but they got some fancy imagery. Let's see what's first. We have the Knave of Wands, which is like a Page of Wands. And what we see here is there's a young man at the door, a young lady opening the door, and the young man has a surprise. There's an announcement. Then we have the Nine of Cups. Okay. The Nine of Cups is the wish come true card. You see a gentleman at a very luxurious table eating an opulent meal. Here comes a servant with a dish covered in a dome. But the real wish came true is that some food landed on the floor for that dog. He wanted some so bad. So look out. Here comes a surprise, Kimberly. And the Queen of Wands says, oh, I want to look at the picture. Cool. Yeah. The Queen of Wands says, enjoy it. Have a good time. Have fun. Be courageous and determined with this new wish that comes true for you. It's an announcement for you. Here it comes. It's the Two of Pentacles. Great image of synchronized divers. Synchronized diving, right? Two of Pentacles. Making a big splash twice. There's a reverberation. There's an echo. It's almost like a frequency. And yeah, now I see it. Look, it's the infinity sign. Or number 8. Maybe the number 8's important to you. Cool. Dive in. Have a good time. It's a wish come true. Here comes your announcement. Here comes the end of the announcement. The last door. The Hierophant. And the Hierophant is outside leading the sheep. Okay, well, that's like a spiritual leader. The sheep will follow that guy. He knows where to go. All right, Kimberly, that looks like a fun message. Thanks a lot for inviting me to read. I'm going to give these a toss. And looks like I still have about 4 more readings. Awesome. Way to go, Tarot World. Yeah, we're having fun with this deck. Next up, I'm going to throw for Arizona Raven. You know what? I'm going to throw the Doors again for Arizona Raven. Way to go, Kimberly. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, Tarot World. Let's stay in the same category with the Doors cards. And could we please have a message for Arizona Raven? And I want to say how much I appreciate Arizona Raven's support and the good example she sets for all of us. Thanks a lot, Arizona Raven. Let's throw some Doors for Arizona Raven. Wow. These cards are really dancing around right now. Here you go, Arizona Raven. Okay, all right, okay. All right, it's all for entertainment purposes only. First up, it's the Knight of Chalices. It's the Knight of Cups. And something tells me, you know, if you're not an equestrian, Arizona Raven, I would be surprised. Isn't that a lovely image to be riding a horse near a waterfall like that? The Knight of Cups, the knight in shining armor. In lots of ways, you're one of my knights in shining armor. Next up, we have the 10 of Cups. Wow. Well, hey, the 10 of Cups is the dream come true, and it's somebody's wedding day, and those are flowers that are flying through the air. Everybody's celebrating. Such promise and happiness. Well, these are really lovely cards, Tarot World. I'm glad you picked such nice cards for our friend Arizona Raven. Next up, it's the Ace of Pentacles. Wow. I'm admiring the picture. So here we have a very healthy, happy lady, and she has the keys, and it looks like she has the keys to the new house. And that's the Ace of Pentacles. It's a new house, a new opportunity, a new project. Wow. What's coming next? It's the 9 of Wands. Here we see a workman carrying a new door in. That takes experience to hang doors like that. You have to be skilled and strong. And finally, we have the 6 of Wands. Yay. That's victory and public recognition. And here comes a gentleman in from an expedition to meet everyone and tell them all about it at the club, right? So, wow, I asked for a great message, and I feel like we really got one, Arizona Raven. Awesome. Thanks for inviting me to read. Yeah, fixing stuff, huh, Arizona Raven? How about that? That's funny. Great. I might just want to stay with these cards. When we throw for Lisa Talcott. Yeah, thanks, Arizona Raven. I appreciate your feedback. Thanks for inviting me to read. All right, and now let's throw some cards for Lisa. Lisa, I cut the cards, and I came up with number 14 there, and that is the Temperance card. Right, Balance card. Here we go, Lisa. All right, Tarot World, we're having fun with this deck. Thank you so much. It's like we're learning a new language here. Let's throw some cards for Lisa. I'm so glad we're recording all your messages, Tarot World. They're a lot of fun. These cards are for Lisa. These cards are for Lisa Talcott, please. Okay, here we go. Lisa Talcott. Oh, yay. It's the Sun card. Wait a minute. Okay, so it's the Sun card, and there are two people hanging out in the middle of some hedgerows. It looks like a mandala. It could be like a maze. It's in the middle of the field. The sun is shining. Everything's going to be okay. But what I noticed was I have the magnifying glass now, and those people don't have any clothes on. All right, and they're dancing. So anyway, not to pay attention too much to that card, the next card up is the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune. So guess what? The sun is shining on you. Fortune is coming your way. And this looks like the Moon card. Have I got that right? It is the Moon card. La Luna. It says it right on the card. Wow. Okay, so I'm admiring the card. The card has a lizard on the door. The scene seems askew, like it's not a leaning tower, is it? But if you look, the woman walking on the shore, she is pregnant. Okay. The moon talks about illusion and mystery and the subconscious. Again, with the Wheel of Fortune card, it's almost like your higher self knows that this transition in your life is taking place, and there's reassurance that everything's going to be okay. This is all part of what's supposed to happen. So next up, you have the Knight of Swords. Well, I'm going to take a closer look at this card. The Knight of Swords says that you're pursuing things in an electric fashion. Let's take a look at this picture. I don't know how much I like it. Yeah. Well, Okay. Well, here's where the doors deck kind of spooks me. What we've got here, it looks like there's the person in the foreground is some kind of a predator waiting for the old rich fella to come out of his house. I don't particularly like that one, but the message of the Knight of Swords is, you're fiercely determined. Maybe there's like a good reason. Maybe the one in the dark actually has quite another motivation. Maybe we're looking at the picture wrong, okay? Maybe he wants to surprise his uncle. I just parked my car down the street so you wouldn't know I was here. Happy birthday, Uncle Breakaway Ray. Okay, so anyway, always turning stuff into a positive, Breakaway Ray. It's the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, what an adorable picture. Hang on, I'm looking. Okay, so I've got the Queen of Pentacles here, and she's got all her jewelry spilled out all over the floor. And, I don't know why. I mean, even there's two little elves there. They're supposed to be there in the palace. I don't know. Why do they look like they're sneaking in? I mean, this guy down here and those little elves both look like they're being sneaky. They're about to sneak up on somebody. Oh, it's a warning, is it? I mean, warning in quotation marks. Everything's going to be okay, but get ready because someone's coming to surprise you. There's a surprise coming up on you. I don't know, Lisa. It was a fun reading. I hope everything's okay. I know that you look at the tarot cards and you make notes, so you might want to look these up. Again, it's the Doors deck. Tarot of the 78 Doors. I haven't read the book, and I'm only doing a cursory reading here on the internet like this. But anyway, thanks, Tarot World. I know that's a good one. You're probably like giving her an important heads up, but they're not going to send anything your way that you can't handle. Everything's going to be okay. Don't forget that Sun card. Okay, so Namira, you're next. Okay, just because I'm in the groove with the Doors card, I'm going to throw some doors again for Namira. Hey, thanks for the likes, everybody. I'm in double digits on likes. That is awesome. You viewers are cool. Okay, these cards are for Namira. Thanks a lot, Tarot World. We're having so much fun today. Thanks for your history lesson. Thanks for the psychic house party. These cards are for Namira. Okay, both of them, great. Yeah, you're welcome, Namira. Thanks for inviting me to read. I'm glad you could be here. Okay, first up, it's the Ace of Wands, making magic happen. We've got a closed door, and the magician, who is seasoned and experienced, is using his magic to open it. Abracadabra. Next up, it's the Eight of Pentacles. It's the Eight of Pentacles. Someone is walking by a tattoo shop and they see someone on the inside. I don't have a tattoo. I just understand that it takes a long time. It takes you have to work very carefully. It can even include some pain. Next up, it's really the Tower card. Wow. So you have some people running from the tower that's already on fire. You have lightning in the sky, and you have like waves crashing underneath. Just about everything that can go wrong is going wrong here. Why did he even put a tower out there in the first place? Doesn't seem like it was going to last. And then, not to worry, it's the Knight of Chalices. The Knight in shining armor shows up, and everything, the whole scene changes. Now you're prancing on a steed through a pretty spring with a waterfall. That's very different than what was happening just now. But you got there because you've been practicing magic for a long time. Whatever your magic is, okay, you're very good at it. And you're so good at it that, maybe there wasn't a place for it before, and so things had to change. Because look at you now. Here you go, Namira. The last card. Oh, really? It's the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords, you see a woman, she might be elderly. She's in the frame of a doorway, and she looks like she's forlorn and alone. Maybe she just forgot her keys and she's waiting for her husband to get home. I don't know. Okay. The Five of Swords talks about abuse and how do I put this? Maybe I should just go to the book on this. But don't worry, we're going to turn it into a positive. You know how I operate. Here we go. Let's find the Five of Swords. Oh, you know what? This is the book I want to use. Here we go, Namira. The Five of Swords. I'm reading from a different book than the Doors deck. But the Five of Swords says, this may be a demanding time of win-lose conflict at work or in your relationship. The sense of defeat, surrender, competition, hostility, and even walking away or self-sabotage is in the air. You know, every time I see that expression, self-sabotage, I always mispronounce it the first time through. That sounds like self-sabotage. You may need to take action to overcome being challenged by others, such as standing up for yourself. Should you find yourself in this situation, try to find common ground and focus on collaboration and mutual progress rather than competition. I'm glad I went to the book. Okay. And you know what this reminds me of, Namira? I mean, if it matters at all, it reminds me of my teaching career when some new people would come along when we already had a good thing going. We already worked hard to get it together, but then some new people would come on the scene and they would like mess everything up. Okay. And nevertheless, it wouldn't matter. You know, I would have to behave like a knight in shining armor and be magnanimous and compromise and set a good example. Okay. And then find common ground so that we can all move forward together. Thanks for letting me share my story, Namira. I appreciate you listening to me. It's like having a friend in my living room, even though you're on a different continent. Okay. And today I'm closing with Arwen. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. If I missed you today, I can't wait to see you again next time. Thank you, Tarot World. We're going to stay with the Doors. Whoa. Well, I just want to show this picture with everyone. Look, check out that rock star on the car there. What is that one? I think it's Seven of... Oh, it's the Chariot. That's a cool Chariot. Well, yeah. We're going to be moving on, everybody, pretty soon. The Chariot. Let's go back to the shuffle here. Let's throw some cards for Arwen. That's right, Arwen. Thank you, Namira. Way to go. I appreciate it. All right. These cards are for Arwen. Thank you, Tarot World. Any other fireworks you want to shoot off? Now's your chance. These cards are for Arwen. Interesting. Okay. Thanks for the practice today, everybody. Thanks for keeping me company. Thanks for the free therapy, right? Kimberly, thanks so much for your positive comments. It really keeps me motivated. All right, Arwen, these cards are for you. Yay, I kind of like this card. It's the Seven of Cups. And you can see that she is dreaming of so many things. There's so many opportunities that even while you're sleeping, you know, your subconscious is sorting them out and trying to figure out which one is best. That's good news. It means that your spirit team is on autopilot. They know the playbook, Arwen. Then we have the Hanged Man. Wow. Fascinating image. Okay. I don't know, Arwen, if you were born in this century or the last one, but there used to be a guy named Harry Houdini from the early part of the 20th century. And he was a magician. He famously passed away doing the escape from a tank. Anyway, the Hanged Man says take a look at things in a different way. Take a look at things in a different way. What? You mean through the dreams? Before you go to bed, command your mind to think about all those opportunities and scan for more and sort them out for yourself. So it's not so hard during the day to make decisions. It'll all be planned out for you. Next up, is that the Wheel of Fortune again? Right, it's the Wheel of Fortune. A lot of these opportunities that you're thinking about are things that you probably scheduled in your life plan in the first place. And that's kind of cool that you have a selection process. I'm thinking right now, I don't know if you watch any Marvel movies, but there's a Spider-Man movie. What is it called? Far From Home. They all have the word home in them. Anyway, he gets on the plane with this guy, Happy, and it has Iron Man's computer that helps make a nano Spider-Man suit, and he gets to select what he wants. So, you get to choose your weapons. I mean, lots of video games have that, right? You get to select the tools that you want. So anyway, regarding your life plan, it looks like you have lots of choices. All you got to do is look around and decide which one you want to use for which environment, for which task. Okay, moving on here. The Four of Pentacles talks about prizing what shines. And I'm looking at the picture right now to see if I understand what's going on. Well, the only thing I can say for sure is that there's a woman walking down the street. I don't know if she's looking for a coin that she dropped. I don't know what that door leads to, but the Four of Pentacles tells me to prize what shines. She's looking for what's important. Right. Choose the correct tool. Choose the correct path, and you have plenty to choose from. Just got to look around. And then finally, your message, Arwen, concludes with, wow, it's the Empress card. Sweet. I'll just leave with the Empress card. It's such a lovely image. And while I show you the Empress card from the Doors deck, I'd like to remind STARCARD podcast viewers that there's a playlist at STARCARD Podcast, 5 days with the Empress. And we learned a lot those 5 days. There you go, Arwen. I hope that was a fun reading. Thanks for inviting me to read. We're having a good time here at STARCARD Podcast. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. You made my day. My name is Breakaway Ray. Now get out there and make your own day. I'll see you next time on STARCARD Podcast. All right, keep up the good work, everybody. All right.